I'm going to talk about using your gifts to give. And I know that sounds a little bit corny, so you're just going to have to work with me. In your lanyard, you would have got one of my business cards. It's not a bit of self-promotion, it's actually a purpose for that. So if you could take that out. And on the back of that, I want you to write what you think your gift is. Or you can say what your skill base is if you're a bit uncomfortable with the idea of having a gift. So it could be something that you're born with, but not necessarily. It could be something that you've been taught and you picked up quite quickly. It could be something that people have told you that you're quite good at. Any of those things would classify as a gift. So if you just write that on the back of your card. All right, now I want you to take out your wallet or your purse. No, I'm actually serious. The joke was coming after that. I was going to ask for a 20, but no, that's done now. I really want you to take out your wallet or your purse. You're about due for a stretch, right? Interactive talks. Okay, I want you to take that card and I want you to put it in your wallet or your purse. We're going to come back to that. Trust me on this one. Okay, so it's 2003. I'm in a plane and I'm heading to East Timor. I've decided I'm completely going to change my life. Up until this point, I'm working as a commercial photographer here in Adelaide, and I'm enjoying the process of being a photographer, but there's just something missing. I'm just feeling like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So in true Wend fashion, instead of just going for a holiday for a couple of weeks, I've packed up my whole house. I'm in a plane. I'm on the way to Timor. I have a little bit of money, not much. I have no job to go to. I have one contact and some idealised view that I'm going to be in a small little village somewhere teaching kids how to read and write English. This is what I'm about to do. Guess what I end up doing for the next 3 years? I teach journalists how to be photojournalists. So this is it was something I hadn't really thought about, using skills that I'd already had to pass on to others. You know, if I thought I was going to make a contribution, I thought I had to do social work or teaching or something along those lines. But I discovered that I could actually use that skill base or that gift that I had to actually give back. And it got me to thinking about gifts. And I think people quite often do this. They reject gifts that they have for one or two reasons. One is because it is a gift, it comes to you quite easily. And so you don't recognise it for the gift that it is. And two is that you're probably not using it in a way that's congruent with your values, like I was. I was using the skill as being a photographer, but it just didn't sit well with me in a commercial sense. Not to say that commercial photographers aren't satisfied, I just wasn't in that role. So this took me down a whole new path. Come on, clicker. There we go. 2007, I'm now in Palestine. Why am I in Palestine? I hear you and my parents ask me. Well, I've self-funded a trip there. I'm there for 6 months. I'm documenting the situation. These images are a part of these are all in Palestine that you're looking at now. They're part of a project, a self-commissioned project that I do. I try and keep something on the run where I'm doing a project that I give myself, and this is called documentaries. And the idea behind documentaries is that every week I need to find something to photograph to tell a small photo essay. So I'm in Palestine, I'm doing this, I'm documenting the occupation by Israel. There's also, coincidentally and fortunately for me, a small project about to start up in Jenin refugee camp where they're teaching a bunch of kids creative writing and photography, and I think, perfect, they need a volunteer to teach photography, here I am. So I head up there, I'm in Jenin. It's a refugee camp that's been there in excess of 40 years. So it's not a tent city as you'd imagine it to be. It's quite established. It's got established houses, shops, UN schools. And I've got this core group of kids. I've got 6 girls, 7 boys. They're aged between 13 and 15, and I'm teaching them photography. And as we're going through the process of teaching them photography, it occurs to me, because I'm shooting this at the same time, that if anybody has a story to tell, it's these kids. It's got me on camera, it's completely put me off. Sorry, normally I'm on the other side of those things. So I figure that if anyone's got a story to tell, it's these kids. And so instead of teaching them to take a single strong photograph, I decided to teach them to do a photo story. And as you can imagine, they're quite excited by this because these images that they're going to take are going in a book and it's going to be seen by a global community. And when you're third generation to be living in a refugee camp, you do tend to feel a little bit forgotten by the rest of the world. So I will show you some, let's just skip forward. I can actually show you a picture of us in the camp so you can get an idea. That's me in the green shirt. That's what the camp looks like. So, you know, if you didn't know any better, you would assume that it was just the poor part of Jenin, the township itself. So I am going to show you 4 of the 13 photo essays. I do want to point out, though, that I taught the boys and girls separately. So I taught the girls before I taught the boys, which means when it came to choosing the topic for their photo essay, the girls got all the juicy topics. You know, they got to choose occupation, poverty, martyrs, freedom fighters, all the big topics. The next day the boys came. Of course they wanted to do the same things, but as you can imagine, if the boys and the girls shot the same sort of stories, it'd be quite a heavy read, this book. So instead of the boys showing where they were different, we discussed with the boys perhaps if they show where their daily life is similar to other kids in the world, and that way other kids, when they're reading the story, will have a relationship to them. So, I say that because I don't want you to think that the boys and the girls are affected by the occupation differently. They're affected in the same way, it's just a directive of mine why their stories are different. So, Pete, if we could play that little number.
جوعان لسه محافظ على اللقمة بكتم. إلى كل اللي مطرود الأرض يلي حدود حرب، هجرتك من حق العودة ولساتك مسكون عرض. يلي باقي طولنا طول ما أنا مش ساكن بيتي حضل متغطي بنجوم سما. يا جار المشوار اللي لسه بلادي كيف سكناك، هذا البيت ليك مشتاق. ولد صغير بعالم كبير تايه مش عارف ايش بيصير. يا دوب فتحت عينك دمعت، يا دوب فتحت قلبك توجعت، يا دوب انضميت إلنا شفنا مفرقين يهود مسيحية مسلمين، ولا واحد بده يتفهم غيره، كل فكر انه احسن من غيره، بس هو يستاهل الجنة وحاليا كلنا معيشين بعضنا بجهنم. اما انت غير عنا قلبك نضيف من جوا، ترضاش للي برا يوسخولك اياه، طالب الحياة كلها مساواة، اذا حد قالك تكره قول له لا انا ما بكره حد، اطفالي اليوم بدنا نغير الغد.
So how fantastic is my job satisfaction now, being able to spend time with kids like that? So one thing I found was that giving my time gave other people opportunities, which in turn gave me something much bigger than money could buy. And this is where I'm going to come back to that card. Next time you're fishing around in your wallet and you're looking for some loose change, perhaps to give to a charity, I hope you find that card, and I hope it reminds you that whatever skill you have, you also can use that to give. It's not just money that helps people. Thank you.